Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. As always, it's your boy Tyler Layfield, and joined by my co-host Torres Finney. Torres, how's it going, bro?
What's up, brother? What's going on, man? What's going on? Boom, boom, boom. What's up, baby?
Yeah, nothing much, man. Pretty decent weekend. Of course, it could have been better. We had college football playoffs. We had some exciting time, and then it kind of from there it went kind of down. Well, I don't know. So there's the first quarterfinal game. I guess we can go ahead and jump into this. Let's just go ahead and get into it, and then we'll rip the band-aid off. We'll rip the band-aid off here in a minute. We'll get through the good stuff first, because to me, I really did enjoy that ASU Texas game. That was a blast. But
that was fun.
that was a good one.
You called it, and they would play hard. Um,
They were so close.
I actually was rooting for the upset. I'll give my thoughts on Texas throughout, but as anybody that's been listening, anybody knows I'm not big on Texas at all.
Yeah.
But, and then we could probably talk a little bit more about like how this entire playoff thing's been going. But
Yeah.
in my realm, well, I'm going to start off first between Texas and Arizona State.
Let's just go ahead. Yeah, jump into that one.
I thought it was a really good game. Yeah, man. Arizona State, that comeback, it went down 24-8. And what people understand is once Texas went up, 17-0, it wasn't like it was they were even dominating it because they were still struggling in. Arizona State, those missed field goals, the going forward in the on the Texas side, but not converting on the fourth down. So it was like 4 possessions in the first half that Arizona State didn't even convert on. And I'm thinking like, well, free. Arizona State ain't playing bad. They're one of the things that get out coached, and 2, they ain't got no kicker. And then obviously, as you saw, the second half, I mean, boy, Scatterboo, whoo, that brother,
yeah,
he showed
took over.
He took over the freaking game. And if anybody that's watched Arizona State, Scatterboo, hey man, Scatterboo has been playing really good.
He's legit.
He's legit. So I was really impressed. I know a lot of people don't talk about the controversial call. Was it targeting? In any other, I'll be honest with you, I hate all targeting.
Targeting sucks.
I wish football was back like it was in the 80s. Personally, this is me. But based on how the rules been going on for the past few years, and what other realm has that not been targeted? So I don't know how you can't call that targeting, but call other things targeting. So I'm in the point where I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, there was that, and then I don't know if you saw my father-in-law. He sent me a video where another thing that apparently Arizona State, and this could be, it could be neither here nor there, I don't know, but he said the thing that Arizona State was protesting was one of those kicks, one of the field goals that they had, it bounced and then went through the uprights in regulation, and apparently according to the rule book, that counts. In the rule book, if it bounces and is short and then bounces through the uprights, that counts.
Hold up. I saw that because my friend, we argued about that today. That's on a drop kick.
Okay.
Field goal. That's on a drop
kick.
There's 2 different things. It's not the same on a regular field goal, which is true. I understand. I saw that. On a drop kick, it can bounce and then go in. But the chances of you making that bounce, that's hard. Like
the odds are slim.
There's a lot of stuff. You gotta hope nobody's there. So it's like that's hard to do. But on a regular field goal, no.
Yeah, there was that. So we went ahead and debunked that. Torres just go ahead and he went ahead and put some water on that one. That's not even anything you can complain about. So that one's done. But yeah, the targeting thing, and like you said, targeting is such it's not really consistent when these officials call it. There's some games where a hit like that is a targeting, and some, like we just saw, where it's not, and it just doesn't make sense. There's no consistency across the board when it comes to how they call it, what they're looking at, that kind of thing. And Arizona State, for their fans, they have every right to think that's a targeting. I honestly thought it was targeting in real time, but you have to go with whatever the officials go with, and that's what happened. But yeah, great overall game. They were down 24-8, stormed back in it. Scatterboo, just craziness, man, just wild stuff. The freaking throwing, the passing touchdown he had, the runs he had, the receptions he was doing it all across the board. So, great game by them. Now, did you watch any of the Penn State and Boise State game?
I watched a little bit. I was actually training during the first half of that game. Came back from the second half, and I saw, that was one of those other games where, now, yes, the Penn State was obviously better, but Boise wasn't. Well, I'll tell you about. I missed the first quarter, but not the second quarter. I watched it until once they went up 31-14. But Boise obviously was being outmanned. But Boise was making a little bit of a comeback. Heck, it was 24-14.
Yeah.
They threw the touchdown, but it got called back for holding. And Boise was right there the whole time, in my opinion. I mean, Boise was right there. I don't believe that they couldn't play with the team. I'm not going to say that. It's just, as we'll get more into the playoffs, as we saw, I think that long drought makes a difference. It's similar to baseball when you see those long droughts. Those teams that come out of the wild card, the team that comes out of the first round, come in and play these teams that had these long byes, and they look like sluggish. And you're like, where have you been? Why are we looking so sluggish? And why this team is clicking? Well, this team is at that continuation. People always looking for that break. Sometimes that break is not in your favor because that break can hurt you. And for a team like Boise, along with, Hebrew made a good point in our group message. He was like, you look at teams like Boise, or you look at a team like SMU. When is the last time they played a game of this type of magnitude? And to be a part of that, like who in their organization is accustomed to playing a game of that magnitude and being in there? Teams like Penn State, they play Ohio State, Michigan just about every year. Boise, their biggest game was Oregon. But it was a game of magnitude of the playoffs like that.
Yeah.
That's the first time. Same thing with SMU. That's the first time. That's going to be different for your school. So I definitely think some of that stuff has to play in as well. But, Penn State I'm not sold on Penn State either, man. This is I'm just not.
We'll see when we get into these picks for the next round. We'll see kind of where you stand on that. Penn State, they just got more dudes than Boise. I mean, Boise has Genty. The quarterback ain't too bad. They got a couple, guys offensively and defensively that are decent. But I don't know if you saw it, but their offensive coordinator just left. Dirk Cutter. One of his. I don't. Honestly, let me look and see. I know that he's gone. I don't know if he technically retired, but one of his complaints when he's leaving is talking about transfer. He's like, these guys are, they're always getting, offers from these other schools. Here it is right here. So we are losing recruits in the portal to schools that are just flat out outbidding us, is what he said. And let's see here. What did he do? He ended up. I'm trying to see if he ended up retiring or what. I think he may have retired, but let me see. Twitter's not really helping right now. But yeah, I watched a tad bit of it. From the little bit that I was able to watch, because we were at like a little get together, and they didn't really want to watch football, so I was at the mercy of them, and we ended up playing games and stuff. He retired. So Dirk Cutter retired. He was former NFL coordinator. So I mean, he has some history in the league and in college football. But from what I was able to see in the game, the quarterback for Penn State, Drew Aller, he ended up making some pretty good throws. And of course, T.J. Warren, he's been going off this year. The tight end they got, he's awesome, man. That tight end is amazing.
Tyler Warren.
Yeah, he is good. He is freaking good. And I said T.J. Warren. Oh God, basketball player Tyler Warren. How could I forget Tyler? Yeah, how could I forget that? But yeah, he was going off. He's awesome. He really is like the best tight end I want to say right now in college football. So that's something to look at in the next round. Then we get into. The next game was, because, of course, that day, and it was sad, the New Orleans crap happened, and by crap, I mean the mess that was I guess you could say it is a terrorist, attack that happened, and, people lost their lives, a lot of people injured, that kind of thing, so it does suck. That really did stink, having that happen, and then, of course, they had to push it back to the next day, But we ended up watching the Ohio State Oregon game, and there really wasn't much to watch. That game was over in a heartbeat. Like I don't know. Y'all were texting. I was sitting there watching the overtime. I think all eyes were on that overtime of Arizona State, Texas. And then by the time it was over, I think it was Jackson. Yeah, Jackson texted us. Yeah, it's already 14-0. And then it just kept on adding up. The name to really talk about here is Jeremiah Smith. And Jeremiah Smith, he's just a dog, man. I knew about him, already, but I know maybe not your average fan did. That's not like a flex that I knew about him. It's just that I kept up with his recruitment because I really wanted Georgia to get him. And there was a point in time when we had Dominic Raiola in the mix where he was committed. He got Sammy Brown, now linebacker for Clemson. Came from Jefferson. He orchestrated a throwing session between, it was at Jefferson between Raiola, Jefferson. Smith came in. I want to say Ryan Williams was maybe there as well. We were in the mix there for a minute. Of course, you know how that go with an IL, and of course with our perception with wide receivers, which that may be changing. We'll get to that here momentarily as well. Yeah, it may be changing, hopefully, but obviously weren't able to land them. Ohio State's hard to turn down the money because they're going to throw some good money. Hard to turn down that money plus being able to get coached by Brian Hartline, who is a legendary wide receiver coach right now in college football. He's been putting dudes in the league for quite some time now. You look at the list, it's ridiculous of who has came out of Ohio State. Multiple first-round picks, second-round picks, third-round picks. It's just crazy. So he ended up going there, and he put on a show. Dude looked great. Why has this not been happening all year, Torres? Why have they not been doing this kind of thing all season long, man? That's the question everybody was left with. What do you think here?
Well, the thing is, it's like they have been doing this all season, but nobody ever cares to watch when Ohio State is playing who?
Purdue.
Akron. Purdue.
Yeah, Akron. Yeah, some crap like that.
Yeah, so they have been doing this. Jeremiah Smith have been doing this. Like, It doesn't shock me.
Well, where was it at? Where was it at against Michigan?
See,
better yet,
because again, people point
the rivalry.
People point to one game. See, this is I don't do that because one, you're in sports, I'm in sports. I still think of sports as if I'm playing for that team. I think about myself as if I'm on Ohio State or if I'm on Penn State or Boise State or anything. Like I think of myself if I'm on that team. So that's the reason. That's the way I analyze. I analyze any other sports. Ohio State have been doing this throughout the season, but their flaws are, as you see amongst people that are Ohio State fans, they always say our offense goes to crap when we don't throw to Jeremiah Smith, which he does. They actually struggled a little bit in that Penn State game because they wasn't targeting him. They targeted him more in the second half. Boom, they went up to 34. Like, they offense look a lot better. There's a lot of times throughout the year where Ohio State will pick and choose, and I think that sometimes calls from play caller, which I feel on my end is more for Ryan Day. Like, he just makes a lot of mistakes on his end. But Ohio State have always been like that. That's why I had them at the beginning of the season. I said, man, I thought it was going to be between them and Jordan. And, granted, we see what happened with Jordan. But Ohio State was still one of my favorites.
I had to talk about them.
And I still had them in it. Even before we made the college football playoff prediction. Guess who was in my final? Ohio State.
You had that part right. I was definitely wrong about Oregon, bro. And I will own that all day. I'll eat that crow. I'll eat that crow.
I'm so confident in Ohio State because when you look at that roster, it is without a doubt the best roster in college football. Now, as we seen before, you can have the best roster. That don't mean you're going to necessarily have the best team. I felt even with Oregon, and I've said it on here multiple times, I never thought Oregon was a great number one overall ranked undefeated team. I knew that day was coming. I knew that day was coming. That's why I wanted to see them play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. I was like, they're not beating Ohio State a second time, especially at a neutral site. No chance. I'm sorry. I said they got lucky to do it the first time, and they better be glad it was at home. They played at home against Ohio State, and they won by 1 point because the quarterback forgot how much time literally was left on the clock. If it wasn't for that, they would have won that game. I don't see these boys beating them. I just never saw Oregon. Now, Oregon's a good team. Dan Lanning got these boys in a really good position. He's increased their wins every single year. They've done better every single year. He got them into the playoffs, had them the number one ranked team for majority of the season. Look, a lot of great things going on for Oregon.
Doing good in recruiting, spending a lot of money. Yep.
Yes. So I think I see a lot more good things coming forward. You got to remember, look, people want to talk about somebody's schedule. Look at Oregon's schedule next year. If you want to think Oregon has an easier schedule this year, hey, look next year. Like, it's going to be even easier. So, just know that Oregon's going to be right back in the mix next year. So, Dan Lanner's going to be right back in this position next year. And we're going to talk more about, like, playoff seeding and other things of that nature. But I definitely think, in my opinion, Ohio State's a favorite. They look really good. And Will Howard, let me tell you something else. You know, I've talked about this a lot. Whenever a team, I talked about it last podcast, whenever a team has their back against the wall, they play their best. When you have nothing to lose. Look, Rondé is in a position right now to where, granted, I said all he has to do is make the national championship and his job is safe. But it's like, it's go home and do nothing. These boys going for the fourth down in the first quarter, going for on the fourth down in the second, like, nearly on their side of the field. Like, they're that confident in their offense. Will Howard is playing, I mean, where has this been? That's more of my question. It ain't so much all these other guys.
He's unlocked something these last couple games.
What?
He looks different.
The throws he's making?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's doing really good, man.
Dude,
he really is. You got to give him credit.
Because I felt like that was their weakest link. As crazy as it sounds, they're good at every position.
He had moments this year that made you scratch your head and you're like, what was he doing? You know, like what is Will Howard doing right now? But then he also, you know, he's been having these moments lately. It's just like, wow, great throw, great decision, great choice to scramble there. You know, go for it. So, you know, we have these same, you know, not comparing them here, but you know, you kind of had these same moments every now and then with Stetson. You know, back in his time at Georgia. You know, sometimes you'd look at him and be like, what was that? But then the next play, he would just wow you. So. You know, maybe we're seeing a little bit of a clutch factor coming in here for Will Howard, where he's just stepping up when the moment matters most. So, I agree with you wholeheartedly with Ohio State. I don't know who is beating this team right now, the way they're playing. Texas has its hands full. Is it safe to say? Is it safe to say whoever wins that game wins the national championship?
Yes, 100%.
That's how I feel as well, and it's. Call it discrediting Penn State, call it discrediting Notre Dame. Maybe there is some bias there with me, but I really just don't see.
Hey,
I don't see how
the two teams you have crapped on all year. No matter how much they win, no matter what their record is, you're like, I don't believe in them.
Yeah.
They'll win big. It's Notre Dame.
To be fair, Penn State still hasn't won a huge game in my opinion. I still don't really. I'm not trying to discredit the first two wins that they've had, but I mean it is SMU, it is Boise State out of all this. Well, to be honest with you, this game right here will be their first real test, in my opinion. That's me. This will be their first real test, and we'll get to that prediction here in a minute. But speaking of Notre Dame, we have to talk about it. Let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off Torres. Notre Dame going against UGA in the Sugar Bowl. 6-3 with, was it less than a minute left?
Yep.
Less than a minute left in the half. And we decide, and this has been this was a little bit of a nitpick from you in the SEC championship game too, because you were like, why did we call a pass on 3rd and long? You know, why didn't we go for the field goal? Why did we call a pass on 1st down? And when less than a minute left, why are you calling a pass play trying to go score, before the half, go score anything, a field goal, touchdown, whatever it may be, instead of running out the clock? That's the question that a lot of people ask. And I know I'm going to sound stupid to a lot of y'all once again, but I cannot stand, and I understand this, and there is something to say about this situation that we have with Gunnar Stockton being his first start, all that kind of stuff. I do understand. Probably shouldn't have done it. Probably shouldn't push this too much. You're only down by 3, and it's this guy's first start. Why not take it? I can definitely see that point. But there's a part of me that it does not stand. I can't stand it, man, when we just milk the clock away at the end instead of going for a score. And maybe we had these goggles on where we were thinking as if we still had Beck, and I could see that being a factor. but I do have to say that it was probably the right choice to probably run it on this. And I know hindsight's 2020. No, I'm talking about run the ball, not run the play. Run the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, run the ball. Hindsight's 2020 with me. I feel like, running the ball probably was the move there. But I do kind of feel that whole sense of the thing, like try to go score before half as well. I do kind of get that for me.
I agree with you. If you have a minute left, especially if you had 2 timeouts, I don't agree with you there, Tyler. I actually don't.
Yeah.
But the problem is your personnel. Is always
You're correct.
It's depending on the personnel and the flow of the game. We only have 3 points after playing 30 minutes of football. Well, 29 minutes. 29 minutes of football, we got 3 points. Yeah, in a defensive game, let's go try to drive the ball 85 yards down the field and try to get a score. Is that worth it? Or 80 yards down the field. I think it was on the 20. So let's try to drive the ball 80 yards down the field and still score with a first-time starting quarterback in the biggest game of his life when he has been struggling. And now look, that first half he actually played a little decent, but there was times he was struggling and we weren't moving the ball that great. I would have took that chance. I'm be honest.
Yeah.
And I know he was just looking for a quick throw. It was just see what we can get. But by God, freaking, who was it? Left tackle got beat up.
It was Monroe Freeling, who at times looked decent at that left tackle spot compared to who we did have at one point. It's number 71, Ernest Green. Ernest Green was getting ran through a good bit throughout the season, and when Monroe Freeling came in, he did really good there for a short time. Okay, but it just did not look like he was ready for this game. This wasn't the only time he got absolutely bulldozed. There was a couple of times he got put on his butt. You cannot, as a left tackle, that cannot be happening. In that type of game, in this type of program, it's just inexcusable. And I think he's more suited for right tackle, and I think that is his future spot. Xavier Truss, as many years as we've had him, Torres, this was our last year with him. Okay, number 73. We've had him for God knows how long. He's like 38 by now, but the dude, this was his last year with us. He's done a serviceable job. He's done a good job for Georgia as far as coming in and making plays when needed and has his name called. But Monroe Freeland probably will take that right tackle spot, and I think he will fit much better than that moving forward. So had to get that piece off. But go ahead, continue with that.
Well, mainly, I just didn't like that call because that really changed the flow of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up that touchdown at the end of the half. Now it's 13-3 going into halftime. Then boom, what was the first play after halftime?
Kickoff for a touchdown.
So now we're down 20-3. And if you want to be honest, they only scored 3 points for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
We're playing.
This doesn't go. This you can't hatch this up to defense. You can't say defense let us down because some people. If you look at it in a nutshell, what did it end up being? What was the final score? 23 to 10. 23-10. Those. All right. So one of the touchdowns was on special teams. You can't shake that up to them. One of them was given to them 15 yards away or whatever it was. You can't put that on them all the way. I mean, sure, it would have been nice for them to hold them to 3, but either way, they're going to come away with some points in that situation.
That's 14 points right there.
So that's a huge bit of it right there. But I thought defense played pretty well. There were some things that we can get into that more. There's a lot of different points in this game that you can point to as where things went wrong. Unfortunately, one of those that a lot of people like to point to, and that ESPN did an atrocious job, in my opinion, they did this dude dirty. The freaking walk-on, man. The walk-on getting in the way of Arian Smith. What a pass by Gunnar Stockton.
What a pass there. It was a great pass.
Okay, that's another guy you cannot put this loss on him. Gunnar Stockton, I think, had a great game. In my opinion, I thought he played about as good as you could have done, man. And I know that you can't chalk up the fumble to him. That's how it happened. I mean, sure, maybe he held on to it a little longer than he probably could have. You might could say that, but for a dude's first start, when these lights are so freaking bright in a freaking quarterfinal college football playoff game, he did about as good as I could have asked, man. He did not make any deer in headlights plays. He didn't throw an interception like we saw in the SEC championship game where I'm just like, what are we doing here? Yeah. It wasn't.
Bad.
It was, and he didn't have one of those. So we can't blame defense here. We can't blame Gunnar Stockton. We can't blame the walk-on that got in the way of the ref. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like to put it on him. That backed him up 15 yards. There was no guarantee we were going to score a touchdown anyways. And then when it was all said and done, you know, we ended up losing by more than that amount of points. So I mean, you can't blame that kid. They kept on going back and showing him on the TV. I was just like, why are y'all doing this, kid? Like, it is not his fault, man.
But it did come up that momentum of that drive.
It did.
It changed the plays. We right there on the what? Who's on the?
I think we would have been at the 11 or something, 11? And it backed him up to the 26. Yeah, so it did hurt, but it by no means lost us that game. Yeah. Offensive line, this game really just did not get like everything that Notre Dame. Like if you're Notre Dame going to this game, if you're Marcus Freeman and you're putting down key points as to what you need to hit to win this game, okay, we need to have time of possession. Okay, they ended up getting it eventually. Okay. We need to create turnovers. Check. Got that. We need to get them in third and long situations. Check. Okay. We need to make a couple special teams plays to catch them off. Okay. You had the kickoff return and you had the false start. Okay. Check. Okay. Everything you could have lined up, man, it ended up working to their favor. They played about as good of a game as you probably could have if you're Notre Dame. Like this worked out every way you needed it to.
And never once throughout that game did I ever feel like Georgia wasn't better than them. Personally, I felt like we were the better team. Now I'm not saying we played as good. Obviously, we didn't play like the better team, but I definitely felt like skill set wise, no wrong.
They should feel team, we have no business losing to them, and it just did. It just happened.
But again, that's why I tell like Notre Dame was no slouch to the point where is Georgia backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Well, let's think about it because we watched back throughout the whole year. I know people are already saying, if Beck was in the game could have been different. It probably would have. I'm not going to sit here and say it wouldn't have.
I honestly don't know how different it would have been, though. I can tell you that. I still don't know if the outcome would have been the same.
Me too. Because I saw, if Beck would have played, guess what? You know what would have been crazy? I don't even think we'd probably be in that playing Notre Dame. Because we'd probably be on the other side. We probably would have lost the SEC championship game. So
maybe. You never know. Could have happened. Could have happened.
He wasn't looking too good that game.
Yeah. So, when you look to point fingers, you could point to maybe offensive line coach, the offensive line in general. They weren't really. I mean, number one, they were letting people get back there and pressure them. Number two, you weren't doing anything to push the defensive line forward to create for your running backs. You could blame Bobo if you want, and I'm on that train now. You're firmly on that train. We'll see what happens there.
Tyler, let's just call a timeout real quick. This man, since 2013? No, even before that. How long has Bobo been there? 2008, 2009?
When?
For Georgia, since the Mark Richt era. How long has Bobo been there? I know
Bobo left to go to Colorado State.
What year he left?
You remember he ended up. Let me see if I can pull it up. He left to go to Colorado State at one point to be a head coach, and then he ended up. I know he ended up being the OC for South Carolina for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember.
Let's see here. So if we're looking on, I'm looking on Wikipedia. So. If we might see some weird stuff. Okay, yeah, 2007 to 2014, he became the OC/QB coach for Georgia. Mm-hmm. 2015 to 2019, he spent at Colorado State. 2020 through 2020, he was at South Carolina. Then he went to Auburn. I don't remember that.
I don't remember Auburn. No, nobody wants to remember that.
2021 Auburn. I don't remember that, man.
I don't remember that either.
That's weird. I might have to Wikipedia might not be the place for that.
No, I mean, it probably
did that really happen? I don't know.
I'm looking it up now. They went 6 and 7.
Yeah, that was bad. And then he became an analyst for Georgia. And then, of course, he trained under Monken. The whole talk was that he would be ready for this moment. And I don't see it. There have been times.
Hold on. Was that you said 2021? Was that both last year?
In Auburn, probably. Probably.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Well, don't you look at that look. See, things don't just happen just because they don't happen. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet you Bo Nix was like, this Bobo man, I gotta get out.
I'm going to Oregon. Yeah. Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
From all accounts I've heard, him and Beck haven't gotten along. That's caused a big to do this year. Yeah. Oh yeah. Beck don't. From what I heard, Beck does not like the play calling either. So he's complained about. Yeah. Who would have thought? Yeah. Yeah. They didn't get along. It's just been a whole thing. The play calling really has not been that great. There's been a couple times where I'm like, okay, but then there's a lot of times where I'm just like, that was stupid. So we got to make a change there if we're going to do anything. Right now, I've been saying it for a while. We're in our golden era. If he stays in his current position, that golden era is going to be it's dead.
Throw it away.
Yeah, it's done. And as far as dead, I mean, yeah, sure, we'll be in playoff contention, but as far as national championship hopes, that's not happening with him.
Since 2007, do not let another man cost you your job. Brother,
yeah.
This man hadn't done nothing for Georgia since he was there with Martin Rick. Now, we bring the brother back from 2014, so he was there for 7 years. We bring him back. What? We had him last year? We bring him back. Now what? Now, because he sat under Todd Monken? Man, get the freak out of here, bro. Yeah. Bobo is back to doing what Bobo has done since he was there with Mark Rick. I am so sick, Tyler. I am so sick of seeing screen left, screen right.
I hate
screen left, screen right.
I hate it too. And, a lot of people say, is it chicken or egg? Is it because of the offensive line? Is it because of lack of pass catchers? You can chalk it up to a lot of different stuff, but at that point, when I'm evaluating somebody in leadership, when you're evaluating somebody in a leadership role, what we value is somebody that can make stuff happen regardless of personnel. You play to your strengths. You try to make something happen with what you got, and there was just a lack of creativity in that facet. I watched Georgia Tech scheme us up with, to be honest with you, let's just chalk it up. They have less talent than us overall. But they were making our defense, they were causing confusion. The way Buster Faulkner was sending guys in motion, it was causing a lot of stuff, and they were able to maximize what they have. They were able to maximize the production they have with the personnel that they have. So we just have seen a lack of that, man, and it's sad. The rumor mill has been saying that Faulkner's going to come in and be a co-OC with Bobo, and that he's going to call the plays, but Bobo's going to still have a little bit of a title. It sounds like there is a... It sounds like Kirby's... To be fair, Kirby Smart has not fired a single coach since he's been at Georgia.
That's sad.
That is a fact. He has not fired anybody.
That's sad.
He has probably encouraged people to look elsewhere. I heard that happen with Shane Beamer. He told him to kind of look around. Him and Joseph Adai did not get into it. They cussed each other out at a practice. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was some stuff between him and Hankton, that now coaches wide receivers at LSU. He sucked. But we're going to... that was funny. Somebody did an article about how good LSU wide receivers are, and they were wanting to say that he's the one that does it, dude. LSU just recruits wide receivers. It ain't nothing he's doing. They're just bringing in dogs. Like, it ain't nothing to do with him, man. I can tell you that much. He sucked. Hankton sucked. But, you've had guys leave for whatever nature, whether it be a promotion, like you had Fran Brown or Del McGee, taking on head coach roles, or, hey, you might want to look somewhere else. And it just, him and Bobo go back. They were roommates. There's, friends. Son's on the team. I just don't think he wants to do his boy dirty. And as sad as that is, I just don't believe. Look, I don't believe he's going to do it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So either he's going to have to realize I need to do something different. Either way, he's not getting fired. He's going to probably take a lesser role if he does that. But I'm starting to. I don't even know, man. I don't know if that's going to even happen. So we'll see.
It makes me feel like there's some type of clause somewhere.
There's not. It's just their boys, bro.
Bro. We didn't even find Bobo with Martin Rick. He went to go.
He took a head coach job.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Can we ever see the one fire Bobo?
Let's just think, though. Let's just think. Okay, he has ties to the program. And I get this. Look, when you're getting coaches in, especially in today's day and age with transfer portal, with recruiting, with NIL, all that kind of stuff, maybe there is something to say about bringing in guys that have some type of connection to UGA. That care about the program enough to where okay, they're going to give me everything they got. And maybe that's something that he saw with Bobo. Not only that they were boys, but he has, the legacy factor. He went to school here. He played here, that kind of thing. But I'm getting to the point where these excuses don't mean anything to me now. Like, I mean, you can make them up all you want. You can come up with all sorts of stuff, but if this is the product we're getting, something's going to have to be done. And we're going to find that out. It's probably going to be within the next 4 or 5 weeks. First things first is going to be transfer portal stuff, and we're seeing some of that. I don't know when the last day is that guys are going to be able to enter from Georgia. We've already seen some enter today. We saw Anthony Evans. That's probably going to be an addition by subtraction type deal. And Jaden Rashada. It just didn't work out. So Evans was kind of being a little whiny baby throughout the year anyways, deleting pictures off his Instagram and pitching fits during games and things like that when he's muffing punts. I don't understand.
Exactly.
Hey, hello. You don't have a leg to stand on, buddy. But I don't know. That's where we're at with that. That's the rant, though, the Bobo rant. I really won't change, but it's
I'm
yet
not
to.
changing either. He should have been gone.
It's yet to be seen if we're going to get that or not.
It happened. I know some people are optimistic. I know you were trying to be. You was like, well, he sat on the monkey.
I tried to play devil's advocate, man.
He did, and I was like, I'm sorry, bro.
And you know what? You were right.
When you get this much older, Tyler, you know how older people are. They ain't gonna change.
No, yeah. We see it all the time. You're right. Old people ain't gonna change, bro.
Ain't gonna change.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Monken got handed the game ball the other day because this is the first team to have 4,000 passing yards and 3,000 rush yards in the NFL or something like that. I saw some kind of NFL history. Mm-hmm. If that don't make you, God almighty, makes me want to just jump off a building.
So you can't.
Then we went from that to did you see the numbers for us this year? We were one of the worst in the country at running, rushing. It's just awful. The drop off has been awful.
From one of the highest rated offense. I mean, not saying we were their top tier offense, but we had an offense that could score.
He maximized the talent he had.
Maximized the talent he had to go to the NFL with, and I'm not saying obviously when you get gifted Lamar Jackson which he did last year. Lamar Jackson won MVP last year. It was number 1 seed to now have.
Could win it again. He is in the running for it.
Could be winning it again now with him with Derrick Henry. I mean,
but you can't blame the dude. You can't blame the dude for leaving because some of these guys don't want to deal with the recruiting. They don't want to deal with transfer stuff. He could just call plays.
I will say this. I will blame Tom Monken on last year though, AFC Championship. But that's the only flaw. We'll see. You take the league in rushing, and now you want to throw 36 times at your quarterback.
We'll see if he avenges it. This year. But needless to say, congratulations to Notre Dame. They pulled it out. They earned it. They outplayed, outcoached. You can also point one of those. You know how we talked about the different points in the game. The guy running into the ref. You could talk about the kickoff. Return for a touchdown. You could talk about the guy getting pushed through and then Gunner's fumbling it. A lot of people look at the punt situation where Marcus Freeman subbed all 11 guys off and brought the offense back out. And yes, they jumped, and yes, they penalized them. Later on, people went back and saw that one of the offensive line for Notre Dame moved, and then one of the wide receivers also moved. It is true, but it's whoever gets caught. And at the time, who got caught was Georgia. So, I mean, it just is what it is. That game, that play right there did not make a difference on who won or lost that game. Notre Dame played a heck of a game. They outcoached. They outplayed them. Chalk it up. It's a loss, man. That's the end of the season. So now we just got to look forward to hopefully making some changes and, going from there. So let's go ahead. Let's make our picks real quick, our revised picks for the semifinals and championship based off of who we have left, and then we're going to recap UGA's season real quick. So Penn State, Notre Dame, who you got there, Torres?
Penn State, Notre Dame. That's going to be a really good game, 6-7. Look, Notre Dame, in my honest opinion, has been playing really, really good. I'm
trying to look at the line.
They've been playing really good, man. I think this is the year.
Notre Dame is a 2-point favorite.
Well, and give me them, and I'm taking the points as well. I think Notre Dame wins this game. It's going to be slow scoring. I'll be surprised if this is a high scoring game. I'll be surprised if both teams have more than 20 points. I really would. I think it's going to be low scoring, old school, tough football. Like I love grinding it out between the tackles. Ain't gonna be too much passing. You'll still have some passes in there. Whoever make more plays, and I feel like Notre Dame got the guys to make a few more plays than Penn State. This is a big game for Marcus Freeman, man. I mean, to come in, what is it, second year? Is it second year?
I think so. Second or third, yeah.
Come in right after Brian Kelly, take over, and you take this team, in the Final Four, obviously winning a few playoff games. What Brian Kelly said from his own mouth, it is hard to win a championship at Notre Dame when you can't recruit like the SEC. He said that. Well, you got Notre Dame with opportunity to now have opportunity to get in the national championship.
I don't understand that though. I don't understand that. What do you mean you can't recruit like the SEC?
He stated that when they asked him the question, it's hard to recruit at Notre Dame to win championship like it is in the SEC.
I don't buy that BS.
Obviously, what you're trying to see is like, oh, I'm recruiting. I'm now at LSU. Now I can recruit whatever. Now I don't have to worry about anything else. I feel like they still were recruiting pretty well.
Yeah, Notre Dame recruited pretty well. I mean, recruiting comes down to effort, man. If you put in effort, you can make anything happen.
Well, for one, I also thought you're probably thinking about like tiered talent. Like the tiers of talent. Like, yes, do Notre Dame have talent?
Guarantee you one thing.
Of some teams.
That $14 million thing we read about, they're getting all that $14 million. Shoot, where do you think that's going?
Hey, that definitely struck a nerve with Tyler, boy.
Pissed me off, man.
They got 14. And look, like I said, rightfully so, man. Look, when you sat here and you taking the risk year after year after year, not saying you're losing money because they don't. They make a lot of money from their team, right?
Georgia could go independent and they do just as good. Because we would just schedule scrubs like them. Like they're there.
Hey, and why don't you? But it comes with things of playing in a conference. Because playing in the SEC, obviously look how much screen time, ESPN, CBS. There's just a lot of things of playing in the SEC.
Yeah.
Reason why Texas is Oklahoma's over here. Reasons why. A lot of money.
Even though it looks like this year Big Ten got it, man.
Yeah, Big Ten probably is the best conference overall. I mean, they got 2 teams currently in the Final Four. They had 3 teams in the Final Four in the Elite 8. So
yeah,
I definitely think that these guys are definitely the best conference. And I have been screaming this for the longest. I'm not an SEC homer.
I am.
In all reality, I'm not a conference homer at all. It's about your team. And
I still do believe the best talent resides in the South. That's just me. I think Southeast, that's where it's at, and they normally stay closer to home.
That's very true. But also, Tyler, you have to remember, we're living in an era. Okay, well, let's go back to the...
Well, now with NIL, I understand. Transfer portal, that kind of stuff.
I've been preaching this for the longest. The SEC is nothing but an era. We're living in the era of the SEC dominance. Now, we're leaving it. I'm telling you.
Oh God.
I'm telling you. So look, okay, and you might not think much of this. When Harvard and I think Yale was winning all those national championships, you think during that time, especially when I know college football was different, but think about it as people during that time. You think during that time, it's like, man, it's gonna be like this for a long time. I don't think this ever gonna change. Boom. Then you start having other teams like Notre Dame, teams like Penn State. Teams like Nebraska and all these other teams, they started winning championships. And then they had that little era, USC. Then you had the ACC era where you had the Miamis, the Florida States. You did have your Florida...
Clemson.
Clemson's. No, not Clemson. Not Clemson. Not yet. Not in the 90s. Okay. Not in the 90s.
Okay.
You had your little ACC turn. The SEC really turned it on. They had a few wins like Alabama here and there.
Around 2008.
Yes. Because the early SEC, who was it in early 2000? You had USC, you had Ohio State, you had the LSU 04, but then you had USC again, you had Ohio State again, then you had by 06, 07, then you had Florida. We had Florida win.
Yep. Florida, Bama,
Bama.
LSU got them one in there, right? What's his name? The guy that would eat grass.
Les Miles.
Yeah, Les Miles got him. Didn't he get? Yeah, he got one during the end.
He did. He did 07.
Yeah.
So now we're in this whole era of SEC, and you want to know why? Because the best conference is who they had. They had the best overall coach. They had the best overall team. So people had to understand, for us to compete, we got to rise out there. It's no different than anything else. Look at the NBA. All right? Yes, LeBron ran the East. But who was the best team? It was the West with the Golden State Warriors. Who had the better conference? Let's all be real. The West did. Not because of, we're just trying to have a really good team so we can at least make the finals. We have the best teams because we're trying to beat the top tier team in our conference for us to get there, which were who? Golden State. That's what teams were doing in the
San Antonio.
Yes, they were doing everything they could possibly to beat the best team, which every year, who is it? Alabama. Guess what? Georgia, we were good. If there was no Alabama, we would be Alabama.
So you think now with the departure of Saban that things are starting to?
Yes, the departure of Saban, as crazy as it sounds, is slowing the downfall in the SEC.
Wow, that is an interesting take. Very interesting take. Wow, I have not heard it like that.
Yes,
pretty cool,
because
man.
That's any other sport. I do it again.
So now, who is it now? Who's the top dog? Is it Kirby? Is it Ryan Day? Is it?
Right now, I think it's actually wide open. Now, I would give Kirby as the top dog overall if I had him at the pool, for sure.
Yeah.
But it is, Ryan Day is right there in it. You know,
even though he was just talked about a couple weeks ago getting fired, he's still in it.
Tom Coughlin used to have to like that for Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin will about to be old. Tom Coughlin's about to get fired. Get him out of here, y'all. Get him out of here. And then he'll go
Super Bowl
with the worst Giants team possible. So
yeah,
they do that. They would do that with him every 4 years. It was crazy.
Yeah.
They was like, man, we're about to fire Tom Coughlin. Then he gonna beat the 18-0 Patriots in the Super Bowl. And then 11, we're gonna fire Tom Coughlin. Then he gonna beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Like they do that. So you'll see that with Ryan Day. And look, Ryan Day winning the Natty is just gonna buy him like another 3 years because you can't keep losing Michigan. They're gonna lose their mind on that. But that's my take for the SEC downfall. I definitely think the Big Ten right now is a better conference, but I think it's an overall era. I definitely think the SEC.
Okay. So Notre Dame is who you got, okay, in that game. I'm going to go the opposite side. I'm going to go Penn State. I think they got some dudes. I don't know if they've battled as many injuries right now. Drew Allar, as much as I've been talking about it, he has been throwing better. He had some really good throws that last game against Boise State. He put it on the spot to Tyler Warren. I like Tyler Warren a lot. I think they still have some dudes defensively that I think they're going to be able to rely on. I think this is going to be James Franklin's signature win as a head coach. I think this is going to be his biggest win, and that he makes it to the national championship to face who I think will be Ohio State. Yeah, so we can go ahead and hop into that one. Ohio State is a 6-point favorite against Texas. As we previously mentioned, I don't see anybody beating this team. They look too hot right now. They have caught fire at the right time. Maybe something can be said to, Kiever could probably talk about this coming from baseball, because really we mainly see this in MLB, with these teams that get to sit out around, they get kind of a bye. When you get off of that bye, you get off your game, and then you lose focus. We saw this with the Braves, right? They were off, and then they ended up kind of losing their mojo. But the teams that kept playing, they kept that momentum going. You could be seeing that right now with Ohio State. And, we saw that again with all the bye week teams. They all lost, every one of them. So, Ohio State just looks good both sides of the ball. We already talked about how much this roster costs, $20-something million roster. Look great on paper. They're actually putting it on the field now. Texas, we're not that impressed with. Torres and I have the same kind of feeling about it. I don't get it, man. I mean, I really don't. They do have a solid team. Don't get me wrong. It's a good team, but it's just not a team that I really would put my chips on. That I would give my trust to. I just don't trust them like that. And I think even Sarkisian knows that this isn't really his best team. And it's crazy to me that we even have the argument that this team is better than last year's team. at one
Well,
point.
I did say that. I know. I retract all that.
Jackson did as well. Like I don't know how. I really don't.
Yeah, last
But
year was better. Last year.
it leaps and bounds, in my opinion. Even though they do have some guys, Matthew Golden has been a freaking revelation for them. But as a receiver, dude is just Mister. I'm always open. Like he could chuck it to him at any moment. That dude's gonna catch it. He's gonna be wide open. He does something crazy. Did it against Georgia. He's done it against these other teams. He is Mr. Reliable. He is really good for them right now. Bond can make catches when he needs to. The freaking tight end, Gunnar Helms, he looks good when he needs to. They have had some injuries at the tackle spot, so that's something to keep an eye on. Running game only looked really good against Clemson. If it doesn't work against Arizona State, I hate to break it to you. It's not going to look good against Ohio State, my man. Like, it just ain't. Them dogs ain't the same as these dogs that freaking Ohio State's about to put on you, dude. They are experienced and they got talent on both sides of the ball at Ohio State. I take Ohio State easily to cover the 6, and then we go on to face Penn State.
And isn't that crazy? You know, Ohio State being a 6-point favorite over Texas. You would think a team like Austin, Michigan is not really a 6-point favorite over a Texas team that played in the SEC championship game. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Look at how Texas played Clemson. Clemson was able to move the ball pretty good on Texas.
They were.
Arizona State was able to move the ball pretty well, especially that second half on Texas.
They had to get tricky with it. They had to get tricky with it from time to time. They had to pull out some wild stuff to get it happening.
But man, when Scatterbo got going, and then the quarterback started making some good throws late in that game. But see,
I like I told you, I like that quarterback a lot, and I like Scatterbo a lot. I knew they'd be able to do some stuff. That quarterback's got some balls, man. He can make some plays when he needs to.
He does. And I'm gonna also say this, dude. Quinn Ewers, I've said this before a lot of times in Texas. I've watched a lot. He did play good the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter in overtime. Yes, he did. But Quinn Ewers also makes a lot of boneheaded plays to keep other teams in the game.
Yeah.
He did that. Y'all don't understand. I watched him. He did that against Arkansas. He did that against, I think it was Kentucky. He did that against Mississippi State. He did it against Vandy. He did it both times against Georgia. I've watched Quentin Ewers every time. Look, how many times, Tyler, have you seen Texas start off good at first quarter? He looked really good at first quarter. And you're like, oh, man, Texas about to run away with this. Then they go. And
it looked like that in this last. It looked like that in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It really did. It looked like that game was going to get away.
They go on a lull. Second,
yeah.
third.
They take their foot off the gas way too easily.
And you say, man, Texas ain't done anything. Texas ain't done anything the last 2 quarters. They've been doing like that's how they've been playing. When we played Georgia,
you're correct.
Georgia,
you're too true right now.
You would have watched the game, and I bet you would have thought, Tyler, Texas. Oh man, Texas throwing the ball up and down the field on Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you look up, the score's only 13-9. Like what?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy because they make so many bonehead plays throughout the game. Texas, you can't do that. You better not have that loyal against Ohio State, or you're gonna look at the scoreboard. Oh, freak, we down 21. You better not do that. So, I definitely think this game is gonna be close. These are the type of games I think Texas will play up to Ohio State, but I just don't see how they gonna keep up with Ohio State. Y'all can talk about this Texas defense all you want. I mean, it's probably just
and they are good. I mean, they play fast.
Okay.
I think they're pretty decent.
They're okay. They're okay. They're not great to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't get behind it. I've watched it too much. I'll try my best to be nice. I can't do it no more. Texas is okay. It's an okay defense. They can claim that they're the best defense in the SEC. Congratulations. You played a schedule where you didn't play a LSU, an Alabama, a Tennessee, a South Carolina, an Ole Miss. How you don't play none of these other ranked schools? You didn't even play Missouri. Like, what the freak is going on? But yet,
yeah.
And the only time you played one of our premier SEC teams, you lost both times. Heck, one of them a backup quarterback. So I don't want to hear about Texas SEC this and SEC that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not an SEC homer, but I will defend the conference when they want to come in and talk about a team like Texas. Oh, they came in the first year, went to the SEC championship game, and they're already in the Final Four playoffs in the SEC conference. Well, yeah, look who they freaking played. You played our worst team.
Yeah, we can't keep making excuses for them.
Don't do that. Yeah. You didn't play none of our premier SEC teams. Heck, you didn't play any. Did Texas even play Auburn? Hold on.
No, I don't think they did.
Bro, see, that's what I'm saying. Who made the SEC schedule? Let me see. If Texas didn't play Auburn, I'll be.
I don't think they did.
Bro, they did not.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Who made their schedule, bro?
I don't know, but they gave him a cake one.
You didn't play a single.
Greg Sankey.
So look, I give you Georgia. They played Georgia, but look, guess what happened? They lost both times. Besides Georgia, you didn't play a single national champion we have had the past 2 years. Besides Georgia. You didn't play no LSU. You didn't play Bama. You didn't even play Auburn, who played in the national championship in 2013. You didn't play Auburn. You didn't even play Auburn. It wasn't for the team. How you didn't play Auburn? You didn't play Ole Miss. You didn't play South Carolina. Like, you didn't play none of them premier. You didn't even play Missouri. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Anyone that sit here and claim this? Man, give me Ohio State plus the point. I am sick of Texas. I really am. I'm so sick of Texas.
And then I'll say that I'll take Ohio State just to go on to the next round and beat Penn State in my situation. Would you take them to beat Notre Dame in your situation?
Yes, I got them beating Notre Dame.
It just looks like they're inevitable. It looks inevitable.
Yeah, and look, I actually did a thing where what's the worst national championship matchup you can possibly get, and I think it's yours, Tyler. Ohio State versus Penn State. I don't know, maybe a Texas versus Penn State. I don't think I even watched that.
Yeah. It's not going to last long. It'll be a quick game, I feel like. I don't feel great about it, bro. But yeah. Other thing that I didn't mention when we were talking about Georgia Notre Dame, and of course we found out about it after the fact, the passing of Sonny Smart. Pretty sad stuff. God, dog, man, the way that just changed. I'd seen the stuff about him falling and breaking his hip or whatever, but dang, dude, like I did not expect, like you just don't expect that kind of thing to happen. And, could he have known that it was that severe during the game and still, was out there doing that? Could that have played a factor? I don't know. I'm not saying that's what caused the loss or anything, but that had to have messed with him at least somewhat. But yeah, man, I hate that for Kirby and the family, man.
Yeah, for that to happen, you're right. Because obviously you got to remember, we know how severe, obviously those players and coaches know how severe whatever something is before anything ever breaks up to the news.
Yeah. He had to have known.
Yeah.
He had to know it wasn't doing great, so that sucks. But recapping UGA's season, best way to describe it was that they were able to do more with less. This was easily one of the worst rosters I've seen under Kirby Smart, and yet we still won the SEC championship game and made it to the quarterfinals of the college football playoff, which, if you asked me during the first half of UGA Alabama this year, I would not have thought that was going to happen. If you even asked me during Ole Miss UGA when we were getting our heads stomped in, would not have believed it. So, great coaching masterclass by Kirby to get this team to where it did. They definitely outperformed what they should have done. Right now, it's all about building for the future, maybe doing something for next year. We got some news today. Zachariah and Zion Branch, Zachariah being a former 5-star wide receiver coming out of high school. I don't know how much you know about this guy, but I remember watching the first couple games of his freshman year and thinking, this dude is freaking awesome. Like, this is looking like a future Heisman type guy. Like, he was returning punts and kicks for touchdowns and getting long, returns there. They were getting him open in space, and he was just cooking with yards after catch. He was just doing everything. I really like the fact that we were able to pull him. Zion, his brother, being a former 4-star safety. We are going to need a safety next year. Only returning one's going to be KJ Bolden, plus some backups that we really haven't seen play meaningful minutes. So maybe he can come in and do something for us. You got to think we're going to be losing Malachi Starks and Dan Jackson to the draft. Both of them played really well this season. Well, Malachi was forced to play more star than anything, and that was difficult for him. But Dan really stepped up and played We don't win that Georgia Tech game without Dan Jackson.
No, we do not. Great he was hard hitting, man.
We maybe don't win that SEC championship game without Dan Jackson. Dan Jackson made some very key plays for this team this year, and I would be remiss to not mention that. So, good season though. Could have been better, by all means. It's always sucks when you don't win the national championship. So, but by all stretches, I was so happy when we won that SEC championship game. That felt really good. Team was able to pull some big wins. You were able to beat your rivals this year, and win some big games along the way. So that's kind of where I stand. Still some work to do. We probably need to bring in another, a transfer at quarterback to be able to compete for that job next year. Probably need to bring in, if we can, a nose tackle. I don't know if one of them's out there that's really worth it. Maybe another receiver. Noah Thomas is who we're looking at right now from A&M. 6'6" guy that runs a 4.3. Would love, or 4.4. Would love to get him
Does he got
in the mix.
I can care less if he's wrong.
It can't be worse than what we got right now, man. It can't be worse than what we got right now. So anything is better at the time. So and that added with the recruiting class we got, it should get better. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts right now. Anything you want to talk about as far as recapping them, like what your thoughts are as far as them?
No. It was more the fact that look, UGA. I said it here. I said it for every playoff game we win, that's another cherry on top.
Yeah,
I am really surprised we made this far. I was even skeptical if we made the playoffs after that Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
You said it like after we lost to Bama, you're like, man, we're gonna be bad. It's gonna be looking ugly. There was a few games where we found a way to come through. I mean, good Lord. I still don't know how we beat Texas the way we beat Texas, on the road. Obviously, the SEC championship game, the Ole Miss game was something that I didn't like, but that Georgia Tech game was awesome. There was some good highlighted points, and I know as much as we could like to get on Beck, there were some times where Beck looked really, really freaking good, man. He really did. When things actually clicked, man, you was like, all right, this team could really, really be something special. And like I said, making it this far, winning the SEC championship game, yeah, we lost. Nobody wants to lose the first playoff game, but look, we can't get spoiled. So I was like, man, dang, because I'm a Steelers fan, I'm a Georgia fan. Somebody was telling me this, like, man, your team's choking at the end of the season. I'm like, no, we just won 2 national championships 2 years ago. Like, I know what I want all the time, but I just want I just want consistency. Yes, we love to win a championship every year, but Bama didn't win a championship every year.
It's asking a lot. It's asking a lot to do that. Yeah.
Yes, like Kirby got umpteenth amount of years left. Just continue to just trust the process and continue looking at the bill. Yeah, we're gonna have our time where we're like, what the freak, and then we'll have our time.
Yeah,
that was awesome, and we've had a lot of that was awesome times. And then this is to be honest, this is one of the first times I would say in about since 2020, since we've didn't really like the end of the season. Like I know last year we didn't like it necessarily, but we had a really good team and like how we finished. 14. And we had to beat Bama. It wasn't like it was anything else. We just had to beat Bama. And yeah, we lost finished the season last year with 1 loss. I felt like last year, in my opinion, I felt a lot better about last year than this year. Personally, yeah, would have loved to make the playoffs and win to the national championship, but just this year just didn't. I don't know. It was weird. It was the worst I felt this year since 2020 personally. So
yeah,
2020 was pretty bad. We were pretty bad at it.
Yeah, on to the future. Yeah, so we're just going to be looking forward. We'll be talking about, the additions and subtractions through the portal. Like I've said, we've had a couple already enter. We've got a couple people commit to going to the draft. From what I'm hearing, ETN is leaning toward going to the draft, and so is Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Those will be big losses. So we'll see what we do with the holes that we need to fill. Can't forget about the freshmen that we have coming in from high school. It is a pretty good class we're bringing in, so I'm excited to see what they do. So now let's swing it on over to NFL playoff thoughts. And Torres, go ahead and let's start. You mentioned it already about your Steelers, but go ahead and talk about what you think about them going into playoffs.
So look, man, if anybody watched the playoff game that we just watched yesterday, it was absolutely atrocious. I mean, the Steelers playing the Ravens, Steelers choking like usual. Look, absolutely awful. But funny enough, playoff seedings are currently here on the table. Look, Kansas City going in with the number 1 seed is going to be awesome. I definitely think Kansas City coming in. He got on look. He got on the Jordan figures.
I had to pull out the shiesty. For it. I bought this today because we're gonna be doing some conditioning soon out there. I was like, yeah, let me get my pickings on.
Let me get my dude. You want to talk about somebody to complain, to whine, to act like crap, and then you want to have that performance in that type of game against the Bengals? Like, bro, come on.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I watched some of that last night. That was one of the worst performances I've seen him put on since he's been in the pros.
Catches just can't get right route.
I hope he makes it up. I do. I hope he makes it up.
Dude, I'll be watching sometimes, man. I'll be like, dude, who is coming up with this mess? It's like there's no way professionals are playing this bad. Then the bad tackling. Then what's even funnier, I'm just gonna go ahead and get on. But the Atlanta Falcons, you had a 4-game lead. 4-game lead over the NFC South. And then you lose it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who not only had to win more than 5 games over you, but it had to win it because you owned the tiebreaker. So that means you had to lose at least 5 games. Atlanta started the season 6-3. They finished the season 2-6. That's the best possible chance that the Bucs could have done for them to make the playoffs. And the Bucs had to win the majority of the game, which the Bucs didn't because they lost one of the games to the Cowboys. So, like, you had so
yeah, that was a stupid game too. I remember being so mad for fantasy in that game. Like I was like, "What are y'all doing, man? Losing to the Cowboys." Jeez.
So that's the type of time in the field roll themselves, man.
And Mike Evans, he got the tying. He 11th straight season with 1,000 yards. I was so scared he wasn't gonna get it. Then at there, 40-something seconds left in the game, they throw it out wide to him, and he was able to get it. I was so happy for him. That guy, Mike Evans, and he should be like a first ballot Hall of Famer. He really has been great, man. The fact he's doing it at this age still, it's wild.
I remember when he was coming out of Texas A&M. And people were actually questioning whether or not, with
Money Manziel, baby. Yeah, that was a fun time.
That was a fun time. And it was questioning whether or not he would be as good as he was advertised. And if anybody remembered, he had a touchdown in that game, both of those Alabama games. Those Alabama versus Manziel games, I mean, bro, I sometimes go back and watch the highlights. They were classics. That was some good football.
Some of the wildest plays you'll ever see.
Dude, what? Dude, that was some good football. We're growing up. Maybe I sound like an old head, but that was some good football when we were like going through school, man.
When you got Kiever going to the was it the Peach Bowl when they played Duke? A&M and Duke. Yeah. I'm like when you got him going.
Spun around. Yeah, he did the spin around and he threw the pass. It was dude. Bro. But Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think right now with everything staying the way it's gonna stay because it really is. You're gonna have the Bills play Denver first. Then you're going to
you have to be feeling pretty good about the Bills there, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling real confident against Denver. Yeah, if it would have been Cincinnati, would have been a lot closer. I still would have took Buffalo, but I think that would have definitely could have shook some things up. And then you would have had, then you got Baltimore playing now Pittsburgh.
Oof.
I just don't see us beating them unless Lamar Jackson choking the playoff like he'll do something.
So, what would it have been if y'all won the other day?
We would have had to play the Texans first in the first round, which the Texans were now playing. Better. Yeah,
that would have been much, much better.
So the Texans are playing the Chargers.
Come on, George.
And look, congratulations to John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh, his first year. That's funny. Yeah. John Harbaugh, his first year. Jim Harbaugh, I'm sorry. Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, Jim for the Chargers.
San Diego.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yeah. I'm all over the place. All over the West. But, the Chargers, man, he's got the Chargers to a great, great record. I mean, they're about to be 11-6 right now. Playoffs, I actually think, surprisingly enough, give me them over the Texans first round. I think they're that good.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers are going to do some things. Jim Harbaugh got that team playing. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of those few coaches, regardless of where it is, whether it's college.
He can make something happen.
heck, even high school, he can make something happen. And that's obviously we've seen the greats like Nick Saban or Urban Meyer, or you've seen a lot of them that can't do it at both. But he's a guy that can do it at both. And we've seen him take one to the national championship, one to the Super Bowl. So we've seen him be able to do it in both stages at the pinnacle. I'm excited to see what he does for the Chargers. But yeah, give me. I don't want to. Give me Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and give me Buffalo over Denver.
I agree with those that you've said so far. Who are the Buccaneers going to be playing?
Buccaneers first round. They are a wild card, but they hosting. Buccaneers will have to play. Who's the 5 seed? Oh, we'll see tonight.
We'll have to find out tonight. Yeah, between
the winner of the Lions
and yep,
2 14-win teams. One gets a bye and wins the conference and their division, while the other has to go on the road and play Tampa Bay and be on the road potentially for the rest of the playoffs. That's crazy. And you're 14 wins, first time ever in the NFL, 14 wins, Tyler. That's a lot of wins, bro. To win that many games and have to go on the road. I remember Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won. We were 12-4. Baltimore was 12-4. We had to go on the road to play a 9-7. No, it wasn't even 9-7. It was 8-8. An 8-8 Denver Broncos team with Tim Tebow.
Oh yeah, we all met. Yep. Was it in overtime? The first to play in overtime. Demaryius Thomas, Bay. Rest in peace, Bay.
Bay, exactly. So that's what I'm saying, bro. So like, who's to say Minnesota or Detroit probably would be really good on their matchup, but having to go on the road to that sorry field in Tampa Bay, you go from playing in the dome. Not saying Florida's bad, because who would like to play Florida, but still, you got to go on grass. Play Tampa Bay in their hometown, and you're like, what the freak? Like, that's crazy, man. So I definitely think that's going to be interesting. Then you also have Green Bay having to play the Eagles. Eagles are the 2 seed. And who's the 3 seed? Oh, the Rams. The Rams will have to play Washington Commanders. So.
Now, that might be a pretty good matchup.
That's a really good matchup. I think Rams get it from experience.
I'll take Washington.
Boys. Really?
I just really love Jaden Daniels.
Rams at home?
I'll take it. I'll take Jaden Daniels, man. Give me that guy.
He's good. He's
love
good.
him.
Oh,
my God.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah, I'll be definitely purchasing a jersey. He helped me win that fantasy title. I love that dude. And then who was the other one you said? Green Bay and Eagles. I'll take Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles at home.
Green Bay's having some injury issues. I think Love got a little banged up last game, and then Watson just had another knee injury. So the guy just has zero luck health wise. So yeah, they're getting banged up at the wrong time. So give me Philadelphia.
Detroit or Tampa Bay versus the Vikings.
Either way, I think I'll have Tampa Bay losing.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Even though I could see them pulling it out, Baker has been playing really well. So.
For some reason, I love Sam Darnold. Don't get me wrong. If it was the Lions, I see the Lions beating Tampa Bay. I would be surprised if Tampa Bay beats the Vikings.
Yeah, I could see it.
I think that could be the time he stinks it up, which is crazy. He's played an incredible season. So.
Yeah, I could see that. Any other playoff matchups? Did we hit all of them?
Yeah, we hit all the playoff matchups. Yeah, really good NFL season. All right, right now, who do you think wins the MVP?
Right, who is the favorite right now? Who is
Josh Allen is the favorite from what I saw. Then
are we going to see some voter fatigue for Lamar Jackson? You think?
I believe we will. I really do believe we will. You got Josh Allen, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Saquon Barkley. And
Josh Allen is leading it.
I
guess you just have to. I guess I have to lean with Vegas and go Josh Allen, even though Lamar has set a good case for himself.
Yeah, Lamar's had a really good season this year, man.
He has. Can't discredit it. No, I know some people are upset about him not getting it, probably, but yeah, I'll go with Josh Allen.
I'll be honest with you. As a Bills, like being the Bills, you had an incredible game. Josh Allen had an incredible game. I think that was his signature game, being the only team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
And you got to think, he lost a lot of people this year. Lot of wide receivers. I mean, Diggs, Gabe Davis, like all these guys that he was used to. I don't know where Isaiah McKenzie is now, but I think he was there last year.
And got the Bills to the 2 seed.
now you got you got a freaking rookie, Keon Coleman. They traded for Amari Cooper, but he really hasn't done a whole lot there. Mac Hollins is one of your top dudes.
Yep.
Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, it's really a hodgepodge of dudes, and he's still making it happen. I got to give him credit. Yeah, I guess I have to lean with Josh Allen for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Josh Allen as well. And you got a lot of different guys, but it's gonna be really interesting how the season finish out, especially those.
Yeah, man. All right, yeah. So, anything else you want to cover here before we break it down?
No, nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all all out there for tuning into the live stream. Thank y'all out there for listening to the podcast. If you want to support the show, click on the Linktree link in the podcast. There's many different ways you can follow us, like on X, Instagram, Snapchat, all that kind of different stuff. Follow us here. You can maybe get alerts or something whenever we go live, that kind of deal. But we appreciate all the support you guys are giving us. We're looking forward to a good 2025, our first show in this year. So yeah, man, it's good. Big things popping this year. So thank y'all for tuning in. As always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.